Fort Zirenitra, a stronghold at the western end of the Nile-side defile in the Dalmatian Republic in the year 873. It served as the site of a meeting convened between the Dalmatians and their Waluda allies in an attempt to enlist their aid in driving back the Ironblood, who had been a thorn in their side since the Battle of the Twin Realms 8 years ago. The Men of the Fist. Dalmatia's standing army, while officially an organ of the Republic, each of its 5 states is granted relative autonomy with regard to the management of its troops. Aside from a certain specialized squad, battle deployments are mostly comprised of small units, employing a mixture of foot soldiers and battle mages. The former are known and feared for their carved swords and prejudiced axes, and the deadly skill which they wield them. The Men of Rock. Basic information. Hugo Kupka's personal guard. On Kupka's orders, they ruthlessly gutted and destroyed Sid's original hideaway. Vengeance from the brutal beheading of Benedicta Harmon, but Kupka's thirst for revenge is not yet slaked, and it is with reckless abandon that he employs his minions to commit atrocities across the realm in a bid to drive Sid from hiding. Loyalty Bart. A private army under the command of Hugo Kupka, originally employed by the Dalmatian Parliament to guard Drake's Fang. The bulk of the force was co-opted by Kupka when he seized control of the Mother Crystal, and has served him and only him ever since. Most men of the Rock idolize their commander for his political and financial achievements. After all, few can claim to have been made permanent economic advisor to the Dalmatian Parliament and built a wealth worthy of several generations in a single lifetime. A Republic on the Brink. A private army under the command of Hugo Kupka, originally employed to guard Drake's Fang. The bulk of the force was co-opted by Kupka when he seized control of the Mother Crystal, and has served him and only him since. After Kupka's death, his forces scattered, largely returning to the countryside, where many now engage in banditry. The Republican Parliament. Basic information. The highest council of government of the Republic of Dalmatia. 7 ministers are responsible for ruling the nation, though their will is often molded to that of their permanent economic advisor, Hugo Kupka, who leverages his power as the dominant titan to shape the Republic's policy. Dalmatia in chaos. The highest council of government in the Republic of Dalmatia, 7 ministers are responsible for ruling the nation. After the fall of Hugo Kupka and the destruction of Drake's Fang, the Republic descended into chaos, and it fell into the ministers to pick up the pieces of their crumbling country. Lord Underhill. Clive's alter ego, albeit one that was forced upon him by Lubar's fondness for Threadicrees. It was Lord Underhill of the Rondalat League of Merchants who made it known to Natalie that help from the capital would not be forthcoming, and that the people of Dalimil must work together to fill their own shoes. Jill was rather more convincing in the role of Lady Jane of the Red Wings, who planted the idea of forming a town guard in Conrad's mind. Both Conrad and Natalia still address Clive by his name, though in Natalie's case this would appear to be naught but a courtesy to his dramatic efforts. The League of Merchants. The group responsible for filling and maintaining Dalimil's collective stores. They all might be supported in these troubled times. It draws its membership from the traders of the town, and is led by Natalia, overseer of the markets. It was she who recognized that Dalimil's future could not be secured by force of arms alone. Only by bringing the entire town together might they summon the strength to drive back the bandits. The Town Guard. The volunteer fighting force assembled and led by Conrad, unlike the Men of the Rock, are the mercenaries previously charged with keeping Dalimil safe. Every member of the guard is a Daliminian born and bred and has the future of the town at heart. Many of the miners who lost their livelihoods when Drake's Fang fell have found a new purpose in the guard, swinging swords and axes in place of pigs. The Briar's Kiss, Lubar's Forge and Dalamil. Its name is known across the Republic for the quality of its steel and the skill of its smiths. The Forge Master of the Briar's Kiss is a man of many titles. Forge Master Nampero, Desert Hare, Rizunia Dalamil, and dear friend and ally of the late Sadolphus Telamon. The Dalamil Inn. Basic information. A literal oasis in the Velkroy, a desert in the western part of Dhalmekia, Dalamil offers goods, food, and respite to those travelers who endure the long march, through sweltering sands. In particular, the hot spring baths feed from nearby waters and will not only ease the pain of the road, but also rumored to cure all manner of ills, from boils and badoos to the various affections to the groin, many which are like to be contracted at one of Dalamil's many brothels. Under new leadership. A literal oasis, Dalamil offers goods, foods, and respite to those travelers who make the long march through the western Dhalmekia's sweltering Velkroy desert. Since the fall of Drakesfang, however, what was once a constant flow of visitors has dried to all but a trickle, leaving the town in dire straits and tension amongst its citizens high. When faced with a horde of Akashic bandits beating at their gates, Lubar, renowned blacksmith, convinced the town guard and its league of merchants to put aside their differences and join hands to fight for their people's survival. For his accomplishment, he earned not only the respect of his peers, but with it the position of mayor, despite being a bearer. Kosnice, a town located in the rugged northern reaches of the Dhalmekian Republic. Though it was once a thriving trading post, the coming of the Blight has served to both discourage travelers as well as drive off long-time residents. All that now remain are refugees fleeing from elsewhere. The black marketeers who prey upon them, and barely enough soldiers to keep the peace, or rather to pretend to when they're not being bribed to look the other way. Boklad, a busy market town situated on the northeastern coast of Dhalmekia, also known as the Thousands Table. Its streets thronged with merchants from across the realm, each loudly hawking their wares to keen-eyed customers intent on finding a bargain. Gates closed. A busy market town situated on the northeastern coast of Dhalmekia, where the Strait of Arthur drains slowly into the gaping crater of Desamekis Falls, also known as the Thousand Tables. Its streets thronged with the merchants from across the realm, each loudly hawking two wares to keen-eyed customers intent on finding a bargain. The gate at the rear of the town leads directly onto the Crystal Road and therefore out the Republic. As such, it is heavily guarded against unauthorized entry or exit. The Crimson Caravans. The most prestigious portering company in the market, town of Boklad, led by the brother and sister team of Theodore and Eloise for a small fee. They will move anything that needs moving, and if the cargo happens to be bearers recently released from slavery, they may even consider paying it from their own purses. Tabor. Basic information. An ancient settlement in central southern Dhalmekia that seems to cling to the very cliffs which dominate the landscape of the region. Its proximity to the free cities of Canva gives Tabor a ready market for the high-quality leather its tanner produce, as well as the salt and mineral mined from beneath it. The town's long history of isolation, however, has clouded the heart of its residents, and to this day, many remain unwelcoming to outsiders. A haven for the undying. An ancient settlement in central southern Dhalmekia that seems to cling to the very cliffs which dominate the landscape of the region. Its proximity to the free cities in Canva gives Tabor a ready market for the high-quality leather its tanners produce, as well as the salt and minerals mined from beneath it. Unbeknownst to its citizenry, it is from here that since the fall of Varsity to the Empire, The secretive convent of docile lords known as the Undying have carried out their duties to the Phoenix. Origins: a settlement in central southern Dalmatia that seems to cling to the very cliffs which dominate the landscape of the region. It is famed for its leatherworking, the signature strength of its tanneries, ever prevalent in the canyons that lead in and out of the town. As such, skilled craftsmen abound, transforming hides into all manners of wondrous creations. Talbot was founded by the so-called Guardians of the Crystal, who were later joined by nomadic peoples and hunter-gatherers, creating a rich mixed culture which gives the town its unique flavor. It was those same hunters whose skills were employed to gather the raw materials on which the leatherworking industry was built. Kreatina, a humble settlement situated on the far northern edge of western Dalmatia's Velkoi Desert. Though long abandoned by its original residents, the so-called League of Outlaws had taken up residence here for a time, but the sudden arrival of an ether flood rendered the bandits Akashic, all but sealing the village's fate. Casadrolic, an old abandoned village built on the banks of Cedrus Thread in the Dalmatian Republic. Casadrolic long served as a depot for crystals ferried up and down the river, but frequently attacks on the slow-moving transports by bandits prompted the Republic to establish new caravan trails for fleet-footed chocobo coursers, essentially rendering the village obsolete. Soon after the inhabitants departed, wild beasts moved in. However, there is an effort currently underway by Eloise and her Crimson caravans to rebuild the town and provide it as a safe haven for displaced bears. Kratov, a small Dalmatian village of bean farmers and goat herds built in the shadow of fallen ruins. Though located at the edge of the fields of Kovar on a caravan trail that runs through Titan's Way to free cities of Canberra, it has historically received few visitors as most merchants choose instead to take the less perilous gilded path north. It receives even fewer now that plague has taken the lives of most of its residents. Dravast, a town located in the rugged mountains mining region of central Dalmatia. It is known for its ironwork and armor and weaponry forge. Here has long enjoyed a reputation as the realm's finest. This is no small part due to the quality of ore the mines produce, as well as the veritable army of local blacksmiths whose skills are said to be unrivaled. The Southwestern Alliance, an entity formed between Dalmatia and Duchy of Ozaria in the year 850, with the aim of preventing the free cities of Canberra from claiming independence from the Republic. While the alliance eventually became a three-way affair when Zebrek joined, bonds between Dalmex and the Rosarians remained particularly strong, with Rosaria sharing the secret of vital techniques such as irrigation and the free flow of various diplomats between the two nations. The Battle of Nasai. The Battle of Nasai was a short yet bloody clash between the Iron Republic and the Republic of Dalmatia in the year 873. The Dalmatians, hoping to force an end to their long-running conflict with the Ironblood, had conveyed a council to Zenatra stronghold and entreated their Valuta allies to aid them in the cause. However, talks soon broke down and the Dalmatians were left with no choice but to rely once more on the power of the mighty Titan, to whom they already owed a considerable debt. Thus was the stage set for a showdown between Titan and Shiva, the Ironblood's own icon, in which losses on both sides were too many to count. The Zenatra Console. Looking to bring an end to their long-running conflict with the Iron Kingdom, the Dalmex conveyed a council with their Valuta allies as Zenatra stronghold. However, the Valutas were unwilling to concede to the Dalmex request, leaving the Republic no choice but to field its dominant, Hugo Kupka. In so doing, Parliament further indebted itself to its already powerful player in national politics. the Niger Defile, a deep, ordered valley located in the eastern part of the Dalmatian Republic during the Battle of the Twin Realms in 865. It was the site of repeated skirmishes as the Iron Kingdom attempted to make incursions into Dalmatian territory. The Velkoroy Desert, a vast arid wilderness located in the Dalmatian Republic. The further west one travels, the deeper and more forbidden the sand grows, and the more frequent the signs of settlement long since deserted. To the south, water can at least be found, albeit piping hot, a quality which has given rise to Dalamel Inn and the hot springs surrounding it. Despite the forbidden environment, trade ensures a steady flow of traffic north and south, served by various inns along the way. The Jaw, a wild mountainous region of southwestern Dalmatia from which Drake's Fang can be seen looming in the distance. Latney's Cliff, a narrow sandstone valley that cuts through northeastern Dalmatia. At its terminus can be found the vast crater of Desimic Falls, upon the lip of which are nestled the bustling markets of Boklad. Desimic Falls, a basic information. A vast cavity in the earth located in the steppes of a forgotten and desolate coastal region of eastern Dalmatia. Despite the fact that for centuries seawater from the Strait of Arthur has flowed into the Columbus crater without cease, it shows no sign of filling. The tragic tale that came to be known as the Sins of Desimic is said to have taken place here. Hidden Truths, a vast circular cavity carved from the Dalmatian coast. It is here the mother crystal known as Desimic once stood in the Age of the Fallen. Man, hoping to claim the power of the gods, laid siege to the crystal in an attempt to gain entry to its ether-rich heart. Rather than attempt to fend off the assault, he instead responded by destroying the mother crystal in his heart, the great crater left behind standing as a reminder of man's hubris. The Cordial Echoes, a bleak ultra wilderness stretching through central Dalmatia. Its northern half is a veritable warren of claustrophobic canyons and fallen detritus, lacking paved roads or outposts of any kind. In the south, however, the area finally opens up to Ransford's Flat, and beyond its reclusive community of Tiber, this and the lonely trade route leading to the free cities of Canva provided the region with at least some semblance of civilization. The Kingdom of Waloed. Basic information. The sole surviving nation in Ash. Waloed has its capital at Astonia, home to the mother crystal of Drake's Spine. A warlike land, its considerable military might serves to keep neighboring countries at bay. While Waloed does maintain a national alliance with the Dalmatian Republic and Southern Storm, it is very much a marriage of convenience. Trouble in Ash. The sole surviving nation in Ash, Waloed has its capital at Astonia, home to the mother crystal of Drake's Spine. A warlike land, its considerable military might serves to keep neighboring countries at bay. Not all are deterred, however, and the constant need to fight off hordes of beastmen prevents the warlords from launching a full excursion into Storm. A Battle of Belenus Tor. The sole surviving nation in Ash, Waloed has its capital at Astonia, home to the mother crystal of Drake's Spine. Its ruler, Barnabas Thalmor, dominant of Odin and warden of darkness, recently dispatched units of intelligence to Storm with others to scout ahead prior to a full-scale invasion. Having ceded territory to the Holy Empire of Sanbreque in the Battle of the Twin Realms in the year 865, the Waloeders launched an attack on Belenus Tor in 873, with the intent of regaining their lost foothold on the continent across the strait. Following imperial occupation of Twinside, the sole surviving nation in Ash, Waloed has its capital at Astonia, home to the mother crystal of Drake's Spine. It is ruled over by Barnabas Thalmor, dominant of Odin and warden of darkness, who has long harbored ambitions of extending his reach into the neighboring continent of Storm. Somewhat surprisingly, the Sanbreque's empire incursion into the crystalline dominion prompted no immediate response from the king, who appeared to be biding time and considering his next move. At Drake's Fang, A sole surviving nation in Ash, Waloed has its capital at Stonia, home to the mother crystal of Drake's Spine. It is ruled by Barnabas Thalmor, dominant of Odin and warden of darkness, who has somehow managed to bring the hordes of marauding beastmen that once plagued his lands to heel and pursued them to direct their aggression at his enemies instead. These bloodthirsty forces have been deployed as far afield as Drake's Fang in the Dalmatian Republic. Mechanations. The sole surviving nation in Ash, Waloed has its capital at Stonia, home to the mother crystal of Drake's Spine. It is ruled over by Barnabas Thalmor, dominant of Odin and warden of darkness, who it transpires has formed an alliance with the mysterious being known as Ultima. The Beastmen armies. Sole surviving nation in Ash, Waloed has its capital at Stonia, home to the mother crystal of Drake's Spine. It is ruled over by Barnabas Thalmor, dominant of Odin and warden of darkness, who it transpires has formed an alliance with the mysterious being known as Ultima. After Ultima brought the Primogenesis, Thalmor's combined force of Akashic soldiers and beastmen was deployed across Valisthi, tasked with sowing chaos and mayhem. After the capital's fall. The sole surviving nation in Ash, shortly after the death of Barnabas Thalmor, Sikon of the Decimex, and Caspar of Ultima, Drake's Spine was shattered, leaving the capital of Stonia without Mother Crystal and King. Stonehere. Basic information. Capital of the Kingdom of Waloed, located on the coast of Ridge's Calm, Ash's northmost bay. Its mother crystal Drake's Spine sits just offshore and is connected to the city proper via a massive span that legend says required 100 years and an entire mountain's worth of stone to construct. After the nation's fall. Capital of the Kingdom of Waloed, located on the coast of Ridge's Calm, Ash's northernmost bay. Its mother crystal Drake's Spine was eventually destroyed by Sid and his allies, but by this time the city had already been lost. Its leader perished atop a distant spire, its citizens reduced to mindless thralls, and its streets claimed by orcs and masterless beasts. Drake's Spine. Basic information. A mother crystal situated in Stonia, capital of the Kingdom of Waloed. Its sheer walls striking similar to the towering cliffs that line the coast of Ash. The interior can only be gained by means of a solitaire stone span the stretches from the heart of the city proper. Being the last remaining mother crystal on Ash, the crystal harvested from its surface are a vital lifeline for the Waloed people. But even their number is far from enough to sate the kingdom's appetite, thus forcing her king to seek sources elsewhere. After the mother's fall. A mother crystal that towered over Stonehere, capital of the Kingdom of Waloed. The fall of Drake's tail meant that for a brief moment, it was the last remaining mother crystal in Valisthi. That moment, however, ended abruptly when the spine fell following Clive's otherworldly struggle with Ultima. The fall of Drake's Spine. In the year 873, the Waloed capital of Stonia, already besieged by Akashic and beastmen, was rocked yet further by destruction of the mother crystal, Drake's Spine, at the hands of Sid the Outlaw and his companions. Verdelmark, formerly the most powerful kingdom in Ash, until Barnabas Thalmor led his armies in rebellion against his rule and established his own kingdom of Waloed upon its still smoking ruins. Ravenwit Walls. Ravenwit's towering rampart fills the narrow valley betwixt two adjacent peaks, creating a nigh impenetrable barrier that serves to protect the royal capital Stonehere from armies that might attempt an approach from the southwest. Once manned by a garrison of hundreds, the walls are now empty, save for a handful of orcs and beasts of war that managed to escape their pens. Balmung Dark. A Colosseum-like prison located immediately north of Ravenwit's walls in the Kingdom of Waloed. Barrows sent here became the unfortunate subject of an ambitious military endeavor designed to train untrainable beasts of war. When the kingdom fell and the wardens lost their wills to the ether, those same Barrows were left in their cells to starve, which most did. Gjallarhorn. Basic information. An ancient fortress in the western reaches of the Kingdom of Waloed. Due to its proximity to the storm, it's often used as a staging point for the royal army. Beneath the Keep. An ancient fortress in the western reaches of the Kingdom of Waloed. Similar to the other constructs across Valisthi, the keep appears to have been built on the site of ancient ruins, and it was in an underground chamber not unlike Phoenix Gate's apothecary that a fully intact rendition of Ultima's at the iconical Pantheon was discovered. The Royal Knights of Waloed. The Kingdom of Waloed's main battle forces, also known as the King's Guard. While they ultimately answer to King Barnabas, the Knights' orders are usually issued by their Lord Commander. The Royal Intelligence, a special unit led by Benedict de Harman, Dominant of Garuda, are notable exceptions to this rule, reporting as they do directly to the King. The Beastman Armies. The Kingdom of Waloed's main battle forces, also known as the King's Guard, at Ultima's instruction, King Barnabas supplemented his ranks with Aurochs, creating a hybrid force which he duly dispatched to wreak havoc across Valisthi. Across the casting of Primogenesis, however, the better part of the king's army was doomed to the end of their days as mindless Akashic thralls. The Royal Intelligencers. Basic information. An elite unit of the Royal Knights of Waloed led by Benedict de Harman, who led clandestine incursions deep into the territory of enemy nations for Madrid purposes, espionage and assassination, chief among them. At the sack of Caerva Norvin, an elite unit of the Royal Knights of Waloed led by Benedict de Harman, who led clandestine incursions deep into the territory of enemy nations. Unlike Waloed's main battle force, whose orders are usually issued by Lord Commander, the intelligence report directly to the king, or at least they did, until their dissolution in the aftermath of Sid and Clive's surprise attack on Caerva Norvin. Estelia. Basic information. A settlement situated in mining country in the center of Waloed. The miners make homes among their excavations and live there with their families. Dark Skies. A settlement situated in mining country in the center of Waloed. The miners made homes among their excavations and lived there with their families. However, with the advent of the Arch, its residents disappeared, and now the village is all but deserted. Mecklenburg. A settlement situated in the south of Waloed. After being abandoned by its former residents, it became something of a gathering place for followers of the Savior cult recently arisen on Ash, leading the Undying to dispatch an investigative mission there. Garnick. An idyllic mountain village in the Kingdom of Waloed, or at least what remains of it. He is an old acquaintance of Hippocrates made his home, quietly amassing a vast collection of rare tomes before Ultima and Barnabas' machinations rendered the realm Akashic and stripped him of his very will. Thalin. A mining settlement in the southern part of the continent of Ash. It is known for the adamantium it produced, a resource highly prized for its unrivaled durability. But this is both a blessing and a curse, leading as it has to repeated attacks by modern Aurochs over the years. Though previously well protected, the encroachment of the Blight has seen citizens deserting in their droves, leaving the town ever more vulnerable to the attack. The Bardock Conservatory. A diplomatic orphanage for bearers that sits upon a hill overlooking the verdant plains of Vidar Grace in Waloed. The children who lived here were not cared for, but rather experimented on, enduring harrowing tortures designed to turn them into fearless, mindless weapons, and education that few were to survive. The Shadow Coast. The forbidden cliffs that line the Nadia Nero on the Ash side of the channel. Though viable ascents exist, their numbers are few, and the paths narrow and perilous. That said, that they have more than once been used as staging ground for covert incursions to the kingdom. Now the land above having been all but consumed by the blight. It is only the boldest of adventurers who dare set foot here. Revier. Basic information. An impossible tall tower in central Welu that seems to pierce thy heavens. The few followers of the Circle of Malice remain on Ash, believe it to have been built by the gods, who would one day pass their final judgment from its heights. It has long been considered hallowed ground, whereupon mere mortals fear to tread. Hidden truths. An impossible tower in central of Ash that seems to pierce the very heavens. It was built by Ultima when he first arrived in Valisthi. From its heights he examined the flow of ether through the land, and thereby determined that the optimum placement for the mother crystals. Iron Kingdom. Basic information. Also known in the local townage of Harran, the Iron Kingdom is an archipelago nation situated off the west coast of Storm. With its capital of Craig Lostage, the mother crystal Drake's Breath rises from a volcanic island situated just within or without its borders, depending on who you ask, and has been the subject of a long-standing conflict between the Ironblood and the neighboring Duchy of Rosaria. The Iron Kingdom's inhabitants shun any contact with outsiders, which has given rise to a unique, if largely inward-looking culture. Faith Unbending. An archipelago nation situated off the west coast of Storm, with its capital Craig Lesasht. The mother crystal Drake's Breath rises from a volcanic island situated just within its borders, and is worshipped as a god. Just as the state religion, the Crystalline Orthodox, dictates, the same religion decrees the use of magic to be anathema, and the bearers and dominants who use it to be sinful aberrations, leading to even greater discrimination than that suffered by the brethren on the mainland. Given their stated desire to control all the mothers, the Ironbloods' attitude to other nations is one of inevitable antagonism. The Patriarch. An island nation situated off the west coast of Storm, with its capital of Craig Lesage, despite being nominally a monarchy, the Patriarch, that most powerful priest of the Crystalline Orthodox, is in the truth the most powerful person in the kingdom. He rules from the Isle of Benin Leodala, more commonly known in Storm as Mount Trustinus, on which sits the mother crystal, Drake's Breath, focal point of the faith. Here, countless bearers kidnapped from their homes in Storm and Ash are made to suffer in the name of a religion which deems them less than human. After the fall of Drake's Breath. An island nation situated on the west coast of Storm, with its capital of Craig Lesage in the year 878, its mother crystal, Drake's Breath, was destroyed in an attack by Sid the Outlaw. The loss of the crystal and of the Patriarch, chief of the priests who served it, plunged the kingdom into chaos, having this monarchy waiting for a leader beyond its political and potent royalty. Craig Lesage, the capital city of Faran, on the Iron Kingdom, located on the Bolan Sea island of Ironholm, several hundred leagues off the western coast of Rosaria. Its name means charred rock in the Harmonian tongue. Drake's Breath. Basic information. One of Valis's 5 remaining mother crystals, located on the volcanic isle known to the Ironblood as Benith Leodar. In the seas between Rosaria and the Iron Kingdom, though its occupation can historically be traced to the Duchy, control of the crystal was recently wrested from Rosaria's grasp by the Crusade following a series of bitter conflicts. After the Mother's Fall. A mother crystal that once commanded the waters between Rosaria and the Iron Kingdom. After centuries of bitter conflict, the Ironblood took control of the mother crystal and the island upon which it stood. That is, until the year 878, when the Scar Spire was brought crashing down by none other than Sid the Outlaw. The Fall of Drake's Breath. The mother crystal Drake's Breath, held by the Iron Kingdom since before the fall of the Duchy of Rosaria, was destroyed in the year 878. When its heart was shattered, the ensuing destruction took with it not just Mount Dresnaz, but the entire Isle of Benin Ladad. Imran, Patriarch of the faith known as the Crystalline Orthodox, was also killed in the attack. Mount Drestanos, a solitary volcanic isle rising from a brutal and unforgiving sea known in the Iron-Blood tongue as Ben Leodar. It was once a province of Azaria, but eventually fell to the Crusaders who considered it both a gateway to the continent of Storm and, more importantly, the wellspring of their faith, the Mother Crystal known as Drake's Breath. The Iron Crusade. The fighting forces of the Iron Kingdom. Ultimate command rests with the king, who issues orders directly to the commanders of each of his battalions. Iron-Blood soldiers generally prefer heavy clubs and great axes over swords and the other lighter weapons. This rather brutal approach is indicative of their overall attitude, which has earned them a reputation on the continent as savage and somewhat primitive warriors. The Boiling Crusade. A surprise attack launched by the Iron Kingdom on the Duchy of Rosaria in the year 860. Rosaria was critically weakened at the time, having lost Archduke Aaron Rosfield and being plunged into chaos in the aftermath of the attack on Phoenix Gate. The Iron-Blood unleashed a wave of murderous destruction on the Rosarians and returned home with human spoils in the form of countless young women and children, Jill Warwick among them. The Crystalline Dominion. Basic information. A tiny independent state straddling the continents of Storm and Ash. Its capital, Twinside, is built on the tiny Isle Ark from which its mother crystal Drake's Tail arises. The lack of a dominant has seen the Dominion become the subject of a constant maneuvering over the years, both political and military, and it was only through the recent convening of a Council of Nations that a non-aggression treaty towards the neutral body was forged, and a tenuous stability amongst centuries-old rivals archived. A new imperial capital. At once independent state straddling the continents of Storm and Ash, its capital Twinside is built on the tiny Isle of Ark from which its mother crystal Drake's Tail rises. After Drake's head was destroyed in 873, the Holy Empire of Sebret declared Twinside its new capital in defiance of the long-standing non-aggression treaty. While controversial, the move carried out by Prince Dion and the Knights Dragoon proceeded mostly unopposed, largely due to the dominant's lack of a dominant of its own with which to intimidate the intruders. Following Dion's rebellion. A once independent style straddling the continents of Storm and Ash, within the incursion of the Holy Empire of Sanbreque in the year 873, its independence was reduced to little more than a pretense, but things changed once again in 878. When Prince Dion-Lesage and his dragoons instigated a bloody coup. As the imperial insurrections fell into disarray, so did the situation in the Dominion and beyond. After 5 years, Sanbreque's dominance in the region ended as quickly as it had begun. Following the emergence of Origin, an independent state straddling the continents of Storm and Ash, Sanbreque's dominance here with it, and its semblance of order, was brought crashing down in the bloody coup led by Prince Dion-Lesage. Not long afterward, Twinside's luckless inhabitants were subjected to further misfortune when the fall of the realm's final mother crystal at Drake's spine caused the ancient construct to rise from beneath their city, sowing death and devastation in its wake and effectively decimating the already reduced populace. Twinside, the former capital of the Crystalline Dominion. After a unilateral maneuver by the Holy Empire of Sanbreque in 873, it became the imperial capital.